Then, when I want to conclude, in today's world, I would say paranormal activities are often commercialized and through entertainment, as I had said. And in conclusion, I say they remain an enigma sitting at the crossroads of science, psychology, and culture. So we cannot define exactly what is paranormal, what you call scientific explanations we can't give of this activity. We cannot at all. And whether you view them as real or as construct of the mind, they challenge our understanding of reality and open doors to deeper thinking, and we question about their existence. So this will go on for years together because we are steeped in a lot of thinking, and science cannot take away this from our hearts, that there is no ghost alive. But the difference is there's a thin veil between the two, which does not let the living know what they are doing, neither they know what we are doing. There's a difference between the two, and that makes us more curious and more delved into such kind of stories, and we try to find the inner truth, which is far away from us. Thank you. Thank you for hearing me. Yes, please. Yes. May I meet one, please? Yes, sure.
We are all ghosts in the flesh. When we die, we give up the ghost.
Sometimes I write, sometimes when I look at a person, I think if I remove the flesh, the blood, the sinews, I think the skeleton is standing, walking, moving around. They are the ghosts. I always think in that way. I just think they don't have flesh on them. That is the skeleton moving around. And that is where the fear begins. Because the other day I found two figures standing near the doorway. And I was wondering, the room was dark, two figures, but neither they were moving. But I do not know what was affecting me, whether stress or anything else. But I saw the two figures standing static. I said, let me pull my blanket more further up. Better not see them, but they were white in color. And I said, let me close my eyes, let the stress go. But I feared when I opened again, they were still there, but no movement. But the next day I wanted to see in that same place whether they were there, but none were there. So that is also something, it's working on me. I do not know what I'm going to write next about it. Thank you so much. Oh yes, sure. I would like to read a section from the book regarding, I said, pots and pans being thrown around here and there. So let me get into this. Yes, the title story, Midnight Visitor. Right. I'll get it to you. Let me check it out. Dehradun, a few months back. This place was a safe place when one is all alone. Nestled in the mountain valleys, like a haven much away from the hustle and bustle of the city life. It had a life of its own. Everywhere around here was greenery, and people who lived there were so content that they had no interest to live in an urban area. This remote area was cut off from three ends by huge forests which grew pine trees, and there were also oak birches and deodars, all making a beautiful canopy. There were roads through them, but some ended in a blind lane. Here I was posted, devoid of friends and family. I settled with a good heart in order to serve my company. I knew no one here, and for me to make friends was out of bounds, as I was basically a lone wolf, and it stressed me out even to think about socializing with others, and loved to keep to myself. The only person whom I knew was a caretaker. He had warmly welcomed me the day I set foot into this house. My room was on the second floor, a big room with a washroom, a study table, and a chair that creaked at the slightest movement. There was an almirah too, where I could hang my clothes, though it smelt musty. The room itself was damp, and no one knew how long it was closed for outsiders. I had to accept all in whatever condition I was to stay, as this was the place allotted to me for the few months I was to work here.